Please welcome Yasmin Green, Director of Research and Development of Jigsaw, and Weber Shandwick's Vivian Schiller.
Hi, everybody. We think maybe the comedy should have come after the discussion we're about to have, but here we are. So thank you for having us. With me is Yasmin Green, who's the Director of Research and Development at Jigsaw, which, if you're not familiar, is a division of Alphabet, Google's parent company, that is kind of a, this is the way I would describe it, you might have a different way, is kind of a think tank cum incubator dealing with issues, using technology to solve the problems that, in some ways, technology has created, dealing with things like fake news and DDoS attacks. And, but we're here today to talk about, and harassment, we're here today to talk about extremism and thwarting online extremism. And I will start by saying our president this morning tweeted or retweeted a previous tweet of his own talking about the loser terrorists and how the internet is the primary tool of recruitment and it must be cut off. So I wonder what your reaction is to that, how workable that is.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I really enjoyed Hamza's performance. That's so good. I think laughing about that stuff is a really good way to open the topic. And I'm sure everyone's keenly interested in what we can do to stop online radicalization to violent Islamist groups and to violent extremist groups more broadly. And I don't think the solution is cutting off the internet. I actually think the solution is providing more information rather than less. And the goal of my team, as Vivian described, is to go out into the world, understand how technology is being used to oppress people, and then to design technologies that will protect people. And I often kind of joke that the inventors of the internet didn't fathom that we would need passwords when they designed it, because they thought we're just sharing information and what could go wrong with that. And it turned out there are a lot of malicious groups, be they authoritarian governments or illicit networks and violent actors who are pretty excited about using the internet to help them advance their goals. So my team go out to different the front lines of all these different challenges to try to understand the human experience of people. So the things we look at are things like terrorism and censorship and cyber attacks, and what kind of technical levers we can pull to make people better off because of technology. So our work on terrorism actually, our recent work started actually with a research trip to Iraq. So we went to the north of Iraq to speak to young men who had left home, bought into the narrative that ISIS was selling, which is that they should go and fight for the rights of Muslims, defend the rights of Muslims. And they went to Raqqa, which is the capital of the caliphate, and signed up and trained. They went to military training, they went to religious training, and some of them trained as suicide bombers. So that's kind of like not what most people imagine like a technology team within Alphabet is doing, like sitting in Iraq in front of someone who was actually trained as a suicide bomber. That's probably the easiest profile in the world to dismiss as evil, is that person. And I was sitting in front of guys like this. Honestly, they were just boys, some of them, like barely any facial hair, wearing kind of tattered sports clothes, frail, not very confident. And I would say, well, can you tell me a bit about what it was like to leave? So they said, I thought that, I was doing the right thing. And it was really this freedom narrative they'd bought into. And I arrived in Raqqa, and immediately, two things were confiscated: my passport and my mobile phone. So the symbols of your physical and digital freedom immediately were confiscated. And then I couldn't move freely. I was under house arrest. I wasn't allowed to express my opinions. And then they described the brutality and the corruption and the starvation and the hypocrisy. And ISIS have a very open recruitment policy, but you can't leave. Like you risk your life to leave. And these people had left. So I'm sitting in front of these people and I say, if you knew everything that you know now, or the post-traumatic stress that you have, the nightmares that you have, the regret that you have, if you knew everything then that you know now when you made the decision to leave, would you still have gone? And they invariably say, yes, which is really curious. So you say, why did you decide, why would you have still gone even if you were presented with all this information? And they say, because at that point I was so indoctrinated, I wasn't accepting any information that was contrary to my conviction to go. I was so sold. And then you say, well, what if you knew everything that you know now 6 months before you made the decision to leave? Would you still have gone? And they say, no. Then I think that would have changed my mind. So the takeaways for us are, actually, this is an access to information problem. More information, alternative information, could have helped. And B, it's too late to go after people when they've already made up their mind. You have to get people when they're sympathetic, but not yet sold on the ideology and the promise of the caliphate. So we came back to our windowless offices in downtown Manhattan and decided that we should do something about this. And actually, we have tools at our disposal to really pursue these, pursue at-risk populations and give them more information so they don't.
The very same tools that Google uses for other parts of their business, right? For targeting.
Advertising.
Yes.
So 1 million organizations use advertising to find targeted online ads, which I'm sure you guys enjoy and find relevant and helpful to your day-to-day experience of the internet, to find products and services that, to find audiences for their products and services. So the goal was, can we use the power of these algorithms to find people who are sympathetic but not yet sold on joining violent extremist groups? And if we can find them, can we redirect them away from extremist material that they're looking for online and send them instead to answers to their questions, just different answers? So I think the targeting was super sophisticated, thousands of keywords. And you might say, well, how do you distinguish between someone who's just interested in finding out about ISIS, which is actually a lot of people, and people who are sympathetic and not sold? And that's actually through a lot of research, working with experts and interviews with defectors and people who've tried to go. To find out, what are supporter slogans? What are the names of the videos and the songs that ISIS releases, the nasheeds that become popular? What are the important battlefield developments that people are following when they're really, really considering moving? So we designed these really targeted campaigns. We showed individuals ads that weren't moralistic. The ads didn't say, don't go, click here not to go and join ISIS. They actually said, are you interested in jihad? Is there good governance in the caliphate? So you were kind of treating as valid people's curiosity, and you were sending them to either defectors who were testifying to what life was like in the caliphate, to imams who are credible and don't believe in violence, and to just citizen footage journalism on what it's really like there. So we ran a pilot using this program, which is called the redirect method. And we reached 320,000 people in 8 weeks. And we've all kind of had the experience of that you redirect them to YouTube videos, and we all know that you don't stay on a YouTube video for more than a second if it doesn't float your boat. So, so the question is, did people watch the videos that they were sent to? Was anything relevant and engaging that was anti-ISIS for these people? And they watched over 500,000 minutes during the pilot, which is the equivalent of you sitting down at your laptop for an entire year without a break and just watching playlists. So our takeaway was we can and should use technology, the tools that we use actually to make money, to reach people and help protect them from online radicalization. And I think we have some kind of measurements to show that we can really engage them.
And what's next for the program?
There are new deployments in Europe. We're looking at how we can look beyond platforms, because it turns out ISIS don't have any brand loyalty to Google or YouTube. So we're looking at other platforms and also connecting to the offline space, because the internet's not the whole problem, it's also not the whole solution.
Yeah, great. Well, we're unfortunately out of time, but thank you. Thank you very much. Great program.